Clayton, Hiemke, Stillwater. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. It is time to start asking tough questions. We hear so much about healing and moving on, like it's as easy as slapping a Band-Aid on a scrape. How do we move on from something that is still happening? How do we heal when you add insult to injury with each passing week? Healing can't happen until the assault is over. Clearly it isn't over. Superintendent Pontrelli was right. Bold is just the beginning. We've learned so much, and not much of it has been great. As a community, we've probably never been more engaged and involved in school matters, and we can't help but feel like you'd rather we still be in the dark, blindly trusting our dollars and children to you, with little to no oversight. Those days are gone. They have been gone. Over the last 18 months, concerned citizens of all ages and stages have come before you to express their feelings and facts on your actions. I can't name a single time where I felt like any of those were actually taken seriously, much less acted upon. How did you decide that we were the enemy? Not only the enemy, but an adversary that has to be silenced, belittled, and discredited at every turn. In these very meetings, people have stood here and discussed the fact that a board member personally harassed a child over daring to speak at a meeting, but that wasn't allowed. We can't name names. It doesn't seem to matter that it's not in violation of any of the policies, seeing as board members are not members of staff or students. Seems you just interpret policies as it suits your agenda. Another community member discussed how pleased she was with the board member and the superintendent and gushed over how great it is. So that was allowed. Later, a speaker literally read a quote from the board chair and was rudely interrupted and scolded about the correct way to identify people, which is apparently to not identify anyone at all. Yet that same speaker can return to another meeting, identify administration by first and last name, and since that particular topic didn't reflect poorly on the district, well, that's allowed. Then there was the retreat where the board members dreamed up plans to limit and even further control the open forum, or the board chair who finds public observers to be a hindrance to the work he'd rather do for public schools behind closed doors. I think you see where I'm going, so I'll spare you any more of the numerous examples. The open forum also serves as an important tool in the public record of issues and how they are not being addressed. Are not being addressed. Censoring speakers only serves to preserve your own ego, but does nothing for the long-term well-being of the district you are supposed to be serving. Something tells me you are fully aware of this. Censorship is not only an issue here in these meetings, but also on your own website and social media accounts. So, how do you represent a group you choose to silence and ignore? We are tired of being silenced until we are heard, respected, and see a change in this climate. How can you really expect healing or moving on? You are the ones causing this injury. You continue to do so when you disregard not only our community, but also our children. Clearly, this is a top-down issue, which brings me to the most blatant and recent attack on not only the First Amendment, but also civil duty. When an executive member of your finance team with her husband and lawyer sends a cease and desist letter to 5 members of this very active and dedicated community, it sends a strong signal that this kind of behavior is fine for your eyes.
I'm going to have to stop you now. You've gone to the staff member that you were just talking about earlier.
I didn't go to a specific, I'm using a specific example, but I didn't go to someone that I used earlier.
It could be anybody? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said it's not a specific complaint or vulgarity or character attack or malice.
Is it identifying someone by implication, which is what we read before the open forum?
But
I'm just asking, is it identifying?
Yeah, but I'm not doing any of those things around that.
But if you identify someone by name or implication, is what the open forum language says. I'm just asking you, if you're not doing, excuse me, if you're not doing either of those two things, continue. If you are, I would ask you to stop.
Well, I'll continue.
Okay.
You're just going to have to let me catch up here.
Sure.
So, anyone in the district using a personal lawyer to intimidate people from investigating your professional organization should be a concern of the board. An organization that is bound by transparency and accountability to the community, the taxpayers, and parents of your preschool and school-age products. For your claim that it is not district-related is a cop-out. Do you abide by the law and civil rights, or do you abide by policies on the fly and allow the professional bullying? Second, this seems to be an attempt to shut down citizenry. It's really funny how we were warned of all of this before the bold vote was even taken. Instead of trying to kill the messenger, so to speak, how about you actually acknowledge that there's a message, an important one? Instead of being upset at people for talking about this district being an embarrassment of the East, how about you acknowledge that you owe this community an apology, many of them, and then actively work on repairs? The last day of school would have been a great time to show a little compassion. As a matter of fact, months ago, you promised support services that would be available on that day. Nothing. Just another punch in the gut, followed with the demand that we heal and move on. But that's all until the next time that you show up, and we are assaulted again. So let's start tonight. Let's start with the budget. Let's ask these tough questions. Julie spoke of